Chosen ones never underestimate the quiet ones. They're the ones watching, waiting, and ready to surprise you in ways you never saw coming. History is littered with stories of underestimated geniuses, people quietly labeled as just another face in the crowd who later changed the game entirely. Here's a fact that might surprise you. Over 90% of people misjudge intelligence based on superficial traits alone, often overlooking the very people who are destined to redefine the rules. So to the chosen ones who've been labeled as overlooked or under the radar, remember this. Being underestimated is like wearing an invisibility cloak. It lets you get closer, see clearer, and move faster than anyone expects. You're not just smart, you're smarter than they ever thought. And the best part? You're just getting started. Let's take a look at why being underestimated isn't a weakness, but a well-kept advantage, one that's about to get some overdue recognition. Number 1. Underestimated intelligence is a hidden weapon. When people underestimate your intelligence, they're handing you an incredible advantage, the element of surprise. If others don't expect much from you, they let their guard down, revealing their own strengths, weaknesses, and intentions without even realizing it. They assume they're a few steps ahead and might get comfortable around you, unknowingly showing their cards. This dynamic allows you to observe and analyze more closely, understanding their motivations and actions in a way that they rarely expect. In essence, they're giving you insights they'd never openly share if they truly understood your potential. Operating under the radar means you aren't subject to the same pressures or scrutiny as others. While they focus on maintaining their image or proving their abilities, you can quietly focus on honing your own skills and strategy. This can make you an exceptionally careful observer and a brilliant strategist. It's as if they've given you a hidden superpower. You get to develop your insights, assess situations, and stay alert while others are too busy underestimating you. This hidden advantage goes beyond situations where you're simply overlooked. It changes the way you interact with the world, because you're used to being underestimated. You learn the power of subtlety, of timing, and of holding back just enough to let others reveal more of themselves over time. This leads to a form of intelligence that isn't just about facts or quick answers, but about reading people, anticipating moves, and knowing precisely when to step forward. In a world that's quick to judge intelligence at face value, being underestimated equips you with a kind of silent power, one that lets you shape outcomes and influence situations without needing to be the loudest voice in the room. Number 2. The quiet genius has far-reaching power. In a world full of noise where everyone is quick to voice their opinions, the quiet genius stands out in a way that's both subtle and profound. There's a powerful authority in silence, a kind of gravity that draws people in because it feels so rare. When someone chooses their words carefully, speaking only when there's something worth saying, every sentence lands with greater impact. This isn't a tactic, it's a form of intelligence that values substance over show. Understanding that true influence doesn't require constant expression, the quiet genius doesn't waste energy trying to be heard over the crowd. Instead, they create moments that are impossible to ignore. People who constantly speak out often dilute their influence. They become predictable, their words losing weight through sheer volume. But the quiet genius knows that attention is earned through intention. By choosing their moments carefully, they shape their words into powerful tools that reach straight to the heart of the matter. There's an elegance in restraint that draws others to listen more intently, hanging on to every word because they know it holds meaning. This approach does more than elevate their speech. It shifts the entire dynamic in a room. Silence, used strategically, commands a different kind of respect, one that goes beyond titles or surface-level achievements. The quiet genius becomes a figure of mystery and authority, someone who doesn't need validation because their actions and insights speak for themselves. Their silence is never empty. It's filled with thought, understanding, and purpose. And when they finally do speak, the room quiets down, sensing that something meaningful is about to be revealed. In a society where everyone is talking, the quiet genius moves differently. They don't need the spotlight because their intelligence shines precisely in its absence, creating an impact that lasts longer and cuts deeper than noise ever could. Number 3. They only saw your surface. The depth remains uncharted. Most people judge others by what they see on the surface, forming opinions based on appearances, behaviors, or roles. But intelligence is rarely displayed openly. It's something deep, layered, and often subtle. For the underestimated individual, this can be both a frustration and a unique advantage. When people only see your surface, they miss the depth of your thoughts, the complexity of your insights, and the ways in which you understand the world differently from them. What they fail to recognize is that there's a whole side of you that remains uncharted, a side that holds the ability to surprise, challenge, and reshape perspectives. When people assume they know all there is to know about you, they're locking themselves into a limited view, one that doesn't account for your potential to change and grow. They miss the nuances, the layers that aren't meant to be visible to everyone. This depth allows you to keep developing without being prematurely labeled or boxed in. It also frees you from the pressure to prove yourself to anyone. You're able to focus on your true interests, your unique way of thinking, without the constant need for validation that many others depend on. Over time, this hidden depth becomes like a reservoir of insight and knowledge, something you can draw on when the moment is right. While others operate within the narrow boundaries of how they're perceived, you're living in a world with much broader possibilities. People's limited expectations of you give you the freedom to surprise, to innovate, to push beyond what anyone thought you could achieve. By the time they realize the extent of your capabilities, you're already 10 steps ahead, having used your uncharted depth to navigate a path they could never have anticipated. In this way, the depth they ignored becomes your greatest strength. Number 4. Outsiders see patterns the mainstream misses. When you're on the outside looking in, you gain a perspective that most people never have. Standing apart from the mainstream means you're not wrapped up in the expectations, trends, or popular opinions that shape others' thinking. Instead, you have the freedom to notice patterns, connections, and ideas that go unnoticed by those in the crowd. While most people see the world in pieces, only able to focus on what's right in front of them, you can step back and see the bigger picture, weaving together ideas that seem unrelated on the surface. This unique vantage point gives you a kind of vision that isn't limited by what's conventional or popular. When people are caught up in the mainstream, they tend to accept things as they are without question. They don't challenge norms because they're part of them, embedded in systems and structures that make it hard to see alternatives. But as an outsider, you're positioned to question these very norms, to see how different ideas could fit together, and to spot trends before they're even recognized by others. What seems ordinary to them might look like a missed opportunity to you. Being on the outside can sometimes feel isolating, but it's also liberating. You're not restricted by the same invisible walls, which allows you to explore your own ideas and make connections that seem invisible to those caught up in the crowd. Your fresh, unconventional insights give you a powerful edge. By embracing this outsider's perspective, you can recognize new paths, uncover innovations, and create solutions that transform how others see the world. While they're busy following the familiar, you're already discovering the future. Number 5. Adaptive intelligence is a superpower in disguise. When people underestimate you, they're not just missing your potential, they're unknowingly challenging you to adapt and prove them wrong. This constant underestimation forces you to become resourceful, flexible, and resilient in ways that others rarely need to be. While some might rely on straightforward intelligence or rigid structures, you develop adaptive intelligence, the ability to adjust, rethink, and reinvent yourself in any situation. This isn't just a skill, it's a superpower that keeps you growing, changing, and staying one step ahead. Adaptive intelligence means you're able to navigate unexpected changes, thrive in unpredictable environments, and create solutions on the fly. While many people freeze when things don't go according to plan, you've learned to see every obstacle as a new opportunity to shift your approach and keep moving forward. This adaptability is incredibly powerful because it's endlessly versatile. No matter the situation, you're prepared to tackle it from a fresh angle, blending your experiences and insights in a way that creates something entirely new. This form of intelligence isn't something that can be taught or predicted. It develops naturally through experience, through the constant need to prove others wrong or to find a way around the limits they've placed on you. People may expect you to follow the same patterns, but adaptive intelligence gives you a chameleon-like ability to shift your approach in ways they could never anticipate. Over time, this ability becomes second nature, turning challenges into stepping stones and making the unexpected your greatest advantage. While others rely on fixed knowledge, your strength lies in your capacity to change, to see new possibilities, and to redefine the rules whenever needed. In a world where most stick to the familiar, your adaptability is the secret weapon that keeps you evolving and succeeding where others cannot. Number 6. Others' expectations become your camouflage. When people set low expectations for you, they create a kind of camouflage that shields you from scrutiny, allowing you the space to develop without constant interference. Others assume they already know your limits, so they're not paying attention to how you're growing or what you're capable of achieving. This lack of attention is an advantage. It frees you from the pressure of external opinions and lets you focus on quietly honing your skills, refining your strategies, and expanding your capabilities without distraction. In a world where competition is fierce and everyone is watching everyone else, this invisibility can be a rare gift. Being overlooked means you can make mistakes, learn from them, and keep moving forward without anyone holding it against you. While others are constantly under a microscope, you're free to experiment, take risks, and discover your true strengths in a way that's often impossible for those always in the spotlight. Every step you take is yours to own, without anyone judging or trying to push you in a particular direction. This freedom allows you to approach challenges with a clear mind and a focus on true growth, not just on proving yourself to others. Over time, this quiet development becomes your greatest asset. While others might scramble to meet others' expectations or fit into defined roles, you're building a strong, authentic foundation that's uniquely yours. By the time they realize how much you've grown, you're already miles ahead, armed with a depth of skill and insight that wasn't visible on the surface. This camouflage of low expectations lets you remain a step ahead, allowing you to move freely in ways that others can't. It's not just about being unnoticed. It's about using that invisibility to become the best version of yourself, all on your own terms. Number 7. Underestimated intelligence outlasts flashy genius. In a world that's quick to reward the loudest voices and the most visible talents, it's easy for quiet strategic intelligence to be overlooked. Flashy talents, those who make a show of their abilities, often receive immediate recognition. Their skills are bold and attention-grabbing, and their success seems to come effortlessly. But this kind of brilliance often burns brightly for a short time before fading, lacking the depth and resilience to endure challenges and change. Underestimated intelligence, however, thrives quietly, building a foundation that's made to last. People who are often overlooked have no choice but to focus on consistency, careful planning, and steady growth. Without the instant validation that comes from being in the spotlight, they learn patience and develop resilience, working away at their goals over the long term. They prioritize depth over flash, digging into their interests and skills in a way that flashy talent rarely does. As a result, they create something solid, a foundation that can withstand setbacks, adapt to new challenges, and continue growing. Their success might take longer to materialize, but when it does, it's unshakable. The beauty of underestimated intelligence is that it's not distracted by external praise or the need to prove itself quickly. Instead, it operates from a place of quiet confidence, relying on genuine knowledge, strategy, and adaptability over time. While flashy talents may falter as trends change or challenges arise, the quiet strategists keep moving forward, having built a core that's made to withstand anything. This kind of intelligence isn't here for the short term. It's built for the long game, with the staying power that outlasts immediate applause and shines brighter over time, showing its true strength and depth when it matters most. Number 8. The underestimated have little to prove, but much to accomplish. When you're underestimated, there's a freedom in knowing that others aren't expecting much. You're not burdened by the need to prove yourself to everyone else, and you're free from the weight of constant approval seeking. This gives you a rare advantage. You can operate fully on your own terms, setting your own goals, defining your own path, and deciding what success looks like for you. Unlike those who are always performing for others, you're driven by an inner purpose, a desire to accomplish something real and lasting rather than just satisfying external expectations. Without the pressure to conform or impress, you have room to think creatively and to experiment. Your journey is entirely yours, shaped by your personal ambitions and interests, rather than by what others think you should achieve. This independence lets you explore paths that others might avoid or overlook because they're not immediately rewarding or conventional. It allows you to grow in ways that are unique, carving out a place for yourself that no one else could have foreseen. Because you're not chasing others' praise, you're able to build something deeper, something meaningful that reflects who you truly are. This approach leads to accomplishments that aren't just impressive on the surface, but are deeply fulfilling. When you achieve something, it's not about validation, it's about genuine pride in what you've built and how far you've come. Over time, this personal growth results in achievements that are boundless, driven not by the fleeting opinions of others, but by your own standards of excellence. By focusing on what truly matters to you, you end up accomplishing more than anyone thought possible, often surprising others, but more importantly, realizing your own potential in ways that feel true and lasting. Number 9. Pressure-free development breeds innovation. When you're not under the microscope of public expectation, you're given the invaluable space to grow and develop on your own terms. Chosen ones, often overlooked or underestimated, are free from the pressures of scrutiny that many others face. There's no need to prove themselves or fit into a predefined mold, which creates an environment where true innovation can flourish. With no one watching, you have the freedom to experiment, take risks, and make mistakes without fear of judgment or failure. This pressure-free zone is where creativity thrives. Without the constant need to impress or meet others' standards, you can think outside the box, exploring unconventional ideas and solutions. You're not forced to conform to traditional ways of thinking or do what everyone else is doing. Instead, you can pursue your own vision, free from the constraints that often stifle innovation. This ability to step outside of mainstream expectations is where breakthroughs happen. What might seem like a quiet development process is actually a powerful incubator for new ideas, where trial and error lead to unexpected and often game-changing discoveries. This freedom to innovate without the distractions of public opinion or the pressure to perform enables you to find creative solutions that others may never even consider. While others are focused on meeting external expectations, the chosen ones are quietly building something unique and powerful, unafraid to explore uncharted territory. Over time, this freedom becomes their greatest asset, allowing them to develop ideas and approaches that not only stand out, but often redefine the way things are done. By being left to their own devices, they discover the innovative possibilities that arise when you're given the room to think without restriction. Number 10. They thrive on doubt and use it as fuel. When others doubt you, it's easy to feel discouraged. But for those who are underestimated, doubt becomes a powerful motivator, not a barrier. The skepticism others direct at them isn't a reason to back down. It's fuel. The chosen ones don't shrug off doubt. They turn it into something that propels them forward, using it to push beyond their limits. Where some might falter under criticism, they dig in their heels and use the disbelief as a source of relentless energy. Every time someone questions their abilities, it sharpens their resolve, motivating them to prove that doubt wrong. The more others doubt, the more determined they become. It's as if the skepticism acts as a catalyst, igniting a fire that pushes them to work harder, learn faster, and think smarter. While most people would avoid confrontation with doubt, the underestimated individuals embrace it, turning it into the very thing that drives them to succeed. They understand that doubt isn't a reflection of their actual potential. It's just a reflection of others' limited perspectives. This awareness gives them the strength to keep moving forward, not for approval or recognition, but to show the world that what others think doesn't define them. Instead of feeling crushed by disbelief, they feel energized. Every time someone says, "You can't," they respond with, "Watch me." The more they're doubted, the higher they rise. This internal drive, born out of external skepticism, is what sets them apart. It's the fuel that powers their journey, turning what was once seen as a hindrance into a force that accelerates their growth. With every step they take, they prove not just others wrong, but also that doubt itself can be a stepping stone toward extraordinary success. Number 11. Chosen ones redefine success by their own metrics. Underestimated individuals don't follow the path laid out for them, they carve their own. While most people measure success by external standards, fame, wealth, status, the chosen ones reject these conventional metrics. Instead, they define success on their own terms, building a life and a career that aligns with their values, passions, and unique vision. Their success isn't dictated by what society expects, but by what they personally want to achieve. This independence allows them to create a legacy that is uniquely their own, one that isn't dependent on fleeting trends or the approval of others. In rejecting conventional standards, they gain the freedom to pursue what truly matters to them. They don't get caught up in the competition to keep up with others or chase validation from the outside world. Instead, they focus on what brings them fulfillment, what challenges them, and what pushes them to grow. This means they don't just succeed in the traditional sense. They live according to a set of principles that they've developed themselves. This self-defined success becomes their guiding light, and because it's deeply personal, it has staying power. By setting their own rules, they create a path that's not just successful, but meaningful. It doesn't rely on the approval of others or the benchmarks that society uses to measure worth. It's a success that endures because it's rooted in authenticity, resilience, and purpose. Over time, this self-defined success becomes an unshakable legacy that speaks for itself, one that doesn't need to be validated by anyone but the individual who created it. In doing so, the chosen ones redefine what it truly means to succeed, leaving behind a lasting impact that's far beyond the limits of traditional achievement. Number 12. Mastery and being misjudged make them excellent observers. Being misjudged isn't just something the chosen ones endure, it's something they master. When others misunderstand or underestimate them, it hones their ability to observe the world around them with unparalleled focus. They become keenly aware of how people behave, what they say versus what they do, and the subtle cues that reveal their true intentions. This sharp sense of perception is a direct result of being overlooked and misjudged. When others aren't paying attention, the chosen ones are quietly watching, absorbing, and learning. They notice patterns in human behavior that others miss, and they develop an almost predictive understanding of how people will act in any given situation. This skill is invaluable in any field, whether it's navigating complex social dynamics, understanding business strategies, or even predicting the moves of competitors. Their ability to read people gives them an edge that few possess. They're not just reacting to events as they unfold, they're anticipating them. They've learned to decode the subtle signals that others overlook, using this knowledge to make informed decisions long before others catch on. What makes this even more powerful is that the chosen ones don't rely on assumptions or stereotypes. Their ability to observe goes beyond surface-level judgments. They've learned to peel back the layers, understanding that people's actions often reveal more than their words ever will. This deep understanding allows them to navigate the world with a quiet confidence, using their insights to guide their decisions and actions in ways that often leave others behind. What others dismiss as misjudgment becomes their greatest strength, enabling them to understand and predict human behavior with exceptional clarity. In a world where others often chase validation, seek immediate recognition, or conform to the expectations set before them, the chosen ones stand apart. They don't need the spotlight to shine because they understand that true power comes from within, from the quiet growth, the steady resilience, and the mastery of their own path. While others are driven by approval, the chosen ones are fueled by purpose, constantly evolving in ways that often go unnoticed but leave a lasting impact. They thrive in the shadows of doubt, using skepticism as a catalyst to reach new heights. All while redefining success by their own standards, their strength lies in their ability to observe, adapt, and innovate without the pressure of being constantly watched or judged. Through being underestimated, they've honed a unique intelligence that allows them to navigate challenges with creativity and clarity that others struggle to match. Their legacy isn't built on fleeting praise or external measures of success, but on a deeply rooted authenticity that can't be shaken. The chosen ones are not defined by how the world sees them, but by how they choose to see the world. And doing so, they leave a legacy that speaks for itself, one that is defined not by the noise around them, but by the quiet power of their own extraordinary journey.